Good afternoon. Welcome to this media brief. Now, this morning, we have embarked on an extensive program within government to validate performance contracts for the financial year 2024-2025. You are aware that our overall policy framework in government is anchored on the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, the Better Plan. Aligned to that plan, all ministries, state departments, and agencies have developed strategic plans for the period 2023-24 to 2027-28. Those strategic plans are aligned to both the overall policy framework as espoused in Better and also equally aligned to the MTP4 of the Kenya Vision 2030 over and above other policy frameworks like AU's Agenda 2063 and the Sustainable Development Goals. To operationalize those plans, the line ministries have developed annual work plans. And anchored on those annual work plans, we have got annual performance contracts. The rationale of performance contracting framework is that institutions and individuals within those institutions have to be held accountable by way of results at the beginning of the activity period. So each and every financial year, all ministries, parastatals, and agencies are expected to sign performance contracts committing themselves beforehand to certain minimum levels of performance, both quantitatively and qualitatively at the end of the activity period. So the Executive Office of the President, under the guidance and synergy between the Office of the Deputy Chief of Staff responsible for performance and delivery management and the Secretary to the Cabinet, working in tandem with the Office of Cabinet Affairs and also the line ministries, have embarked on the process of validating these performance contracts so that at the tail end of that exercise, the line ministries, specifically the cabinet secretary in that ministry, will be able to sign a performance contract with the appointing authority, which is His Excellency the President. Over and above that, we are also interrogating other fundamental parameters on the basis of which the performance of line ministries will be anchored. One is compliance to the digitalization agenda in government, so we are assessing and verifying the level of digitalization in line ministries and state agencies and departments by onboarding services on the eCitizen platform. This is a directive that was given at the beginning of the tenure of the current government, that we are going to enhance our efficiency and effectiveness in service delivery through automation. So all line ministries and parastatals are expected to follow suit. We are also assessing the level of absorption of donor funding. One of the challenges we have been facing in government is that we have donor funds domiciled in a given ministry, but the level of absorption due to one challenge or the other is not up to date. We want to authenticate the value of each and every donor fund in the ministry and also ascertain the level of absorption and also ascertain efficacy in utilization of the donor funding. The other issue we are assessing is the level of implementation of cabinet decisions. We have been having challenges in implementation of cabinet decisions. Once we have got cabinet memos already passed at cabinet, then we take too long to have some of those cabinet memos pursued to a logical conclusion by way of either translation into a policy, an enabling policy framework, or into law through an enactment by an act of parliament. So we are also following up on that. So specifically, starting with the performance contract for the Ministry of Agriculture, we have taken note of the key milestones of the ministry over the past 2 years, first of all. A fundamental milestone of the Ministry of Agriculture is the reduction in the cost of fertilizer. You are aware that we committed in our Kenya Kwanza plan that we are going to reduce the cost of living index. A substantial proportion of the cost of living index, actually to be precise, to the tune of 54%, is constituted by cost of input, agricultural inputs. So the government deliberately and consciously, under the tutelage and leadership of His Excellency the President, deemed it appropriate to zero in on the cost of reduction of the cost of fertilizer as a major intervention in the agricultural space. When we came into government, the price of fertilizer was 7,500 per 50 kilogram bag. As we speak today, the cost of fertilizer is 2,500 shillings per bag. So that is a major milestone of the Ministry of Agriculture. Still in the same space of reduction of the cost of living, when we came into government, the cost of unga was 250 shillings per packet. Today it has gone down to a meager 120 shillings per packet. That is another fundamental achievement within the agricultural space. Going to sugar production, you are aware that we have been having a historical challenge in this country of farmers' arrears, sugarcane farmers' arrears. The government did commit to clear all the sugarcane farmers' arrears, amounting to Kenya shillings 1.7 billion shillings. As we speak, that is now water under the bridge. The sugarcane farmers' arrears has fully been settled. Now the government is moving to the next level of sorting out the arrears owing to employees in the sugar factories. Equally, there's a fundamental achievement in sugarcane production. Our market demand is 75,000 metric tons. As we speak, through interventions, relevant interventions, farm inputs inclusive, we have managed to offshoot that target and attained a sugar production level of 83,000 metric tons. The net effect of this, or the import of this, is that we are now having a domestic surplus in sugarcane production. So we are not going to have the challenge we have witnessed before of importation of sugar. Those are just but some of the major interventions. Maybe CS, any milestones, that you want to, any milestone PS you want to add? Any milestone you want to add? Where's PS Mweke? He's not here. Okay, now moving forward on the commitments by the Ministry of Agriculture. These commitments, ladies and gentlemen, are going to inform the performance contract that the Cabinet Secretary for Agriculture on behalf of the Ministry will sign with His Excellency the President, committing beforehand the Ministry of Agriculture to a certain minimum level of performance at the end of the financial year 2024-2025. I'll just run you through some of the major commitments. We are going to do a comprehensive press release, so you will have all the details in the press release. It's work in progress. Now, you are aware that one of our major interventions is in the fertilizer subsidy space, and the Cabinet Secretary, or by extension the Ministry of Agriculture, has committed to providing farmers with fertilizers with a view to enhancing production and productivity and to facilitate the management of the cost of living. In line with this, the Ministry commits to enhance the fertilizer subsidy program and also strengthen the governance structure. The fertilizer subsidy program will be enhanced by a threshold of 50%. Farmers on the e-voucher program will also be increased by 50% as at 30th June 2025. With a view to diversifying the food generation, the Ministry has committed to distributing coffee seedlings and also other assorted fruit tree seedlings so that we diversify our agricultural productivity base. In the dairy value chain development, the ministry has committed through the livestock value chain support project to ensuring that they'll have 210 bulk milk coolers installed in 36 counties. Those bulk coolers will have a capacity of 2,000 liters. The ministry also commits to ensuring that we will have 10 bulk milk coolers of a capacity of 10,000 liters installed in the counties of Kiambu, where we are going to have 3, Meru 2, Nyandarua 2, Nyeri 1, Nakuru 1, and Ashingishu 1. Under livestock restocking program, the ministry commits to ensuring that we are going to have a total of 65,334 goats distributed to 10,208 households in 16 counties. To ensure safety for foods or animal origin improvement, the ministry is undertaking microbiological monitoring guidelines for contamination of carcasses and surfaces in export slaughterhouse, and this will be developed and the level will be enhanced by 50%. We are also going to have enhancement to the tune of 50% through 15 milk processing plants, 8 export slaughterhouses, 15 animal feeds and feed ingredients, and also enhancing the processing and storage of honey processing facilities. In terms of strengthening the policy, legal, and regulatory framework so that there is an enabling environment for agricultural productivity to thrive, the ministry has committed to ensuring that policies, bills, strategies, and plans will be put in place to facilitate sustainable agricultural funding and subsidy product development, and the same will be submitted to Cabinet for approval by 30th June 2025. Also, sessional paper number 3 of 2022 on livestock policy will be reviewed and resubmitted to Parliament for purposes of approval. Sessional paper number 2 of 2020 on veterinary policy will be reviewed and resubmitted to Parliament for approval. And then also the agricultural policy and leather development policy will be launched and disseminated as at 30th June 2025. Frameworks, the key legal documents that the ministry will work on is the Crops Act, Agricultural Soil Management Bill that will be developed, submitted to Cabinet so that Cabinet approves and it makes its way to Parliament for purposes of enactment into law. And equally the Livestock Bill, which will be a major intervention in the livestock space so that we have order and productivity in the livestock sector. The Livestock Bill, the ministry will spearhead the development of the Livestock Bill to pave way for that to be enacted into law. The ministry will also develop the Livestock Master Plan and also commit to develop or review the Agricultural Development Fund regulations and then the Animal Identification and Traceability regulations. In terms of absorption of donor funding, the ministry has committed to ensure that all donor funds will be fully absorbed. The target there is 100%. And in terms of pending bills moving forward, the ministry has committed to ensure that at any given point in time, the pending bills will be zero, if not minimal. And if there is to be any pending bills at any given point in time, it should not exceed 1% of the annual budgetary provision. So these are some of the commitments which the ministry has made. The import of this, ladies and gentlemen, is that for all these interventions that the Ministry of Agriculture has committed to implementing during the current financial year, the ministry will be held to account at the end of the financial year. So all these programs have got very, very clear responsibility centers in terms of agencies or departments. They have got very clear timelines, very clear expected outputs and output indicators, and also targets that would ensure that we meet the expected outputs at the end of the activity period. And people will be held to account by way of performance. By extension, moving forward, we are saying that we are not going to have routine performance management in the public service. Performance management The rationale is to ensure that we move to an era of results-based management in the public service so that the Kenyan public can get benefits by way of service delivery. So people will be held to account based on these very, very clear performance indicators that have been discussed and agreed on. Discussed and agreed on between the Executive Office of the President and the ministry. We are also saying that moving forward, we are not going to have a situation where government agencies and departments continue gobbling public funds, yet they are not performing. So we are going to tie the performance management framework to the budgetary framework on one hand and reward management framework on the other. If any ministry or parastatal or government department or agency is performing, then that entity stands the chance of enhancement in budgetary allocation. Any ministry, department, or parastatal that is not performing will also face sanction, including but not limited to reduction in budgetary allocation. That is the direction that we are going to enhance service delivery in government. I'll now call upon the Secretary to the Cabinet to also espouse a few fundamental agreements we have reached with the ministries on other fundamental parameters. Welcome, Masi.
Thank you. Thank you very much for this opportunity. It is often said that what is not... Sorry? Okay. Thank you very much. It is often said that what does not get measured does not get done. This is what has underlined this exercise, which we will be conducting for the next 3 weeks. This is a validation exercise for the performance contract commitments for year 2024. Hey, I'm that short. Oh dear. Yeah, that's actually better. Thank you. So, thank you very much. It is often said that what does not get measured does not get done. And this is what has underlined this exercise that we commence today to carry on for the next 3 weeks. In those 3 weeks, we will be evaluating the progress made by the fifth administration over the past 2 years. We started off with the Ministry of Agriculture, and we will continue to the other portfolios to make 22 as a build-up to the momentum of the evaluation exercises that we have been undertaking over the last year. I will just give you a summary of the items that we have been looking at today on the areas of focus with specific regard to milestones that have been achieved. We looked at the status of implementation of directives from the second National Executive Retreat that was conducted in February this year, and the feedback from this ministry is very well done. It is satisfactory. On the issue of implementation of cabinet decisions, once more was satisfactory. They are on course and they are on track. We also looked at e-citizen, which is a commitment to enable delivery of services by government to the citizen in a manner that is timely, cost-effective, and dignifying. And I would like to inform you that this ministry has onboarded a total of 1,411 services. Let's clap for them. The total of services identified is 1,824, which gives them a compliance rate of 64%. Our approach is very, very much aligned with the wisdom of measuring the work that has been done, and we remain committed to measure our progress and to identify the areas of improvement. This exercise is not just about identifying our past performance. It is also about setting a clear path for the ongoing development journey of this nation. We wish to accompany us to the other portfolios as we go forward. We are committed to continue reporting the feedback that we find from this ministry, and we trust that the path ahead can only get better. Thank you. I would now like to invite the CS, Dr. Karanja, to speak to you.
Good afternoon. First of all, is to welcome you all. I know most of us are staff from the ministry, but those who are from outside the ministry, is to welcome you to the Ministry of Agriculture, Livestock Development. And to say that today, we were lucky that we were the first ones to be evaluated or to be assessed on how we are doing. And you noted the CS Owalo and our secretary to the cabinet had the marking scheme. The marking scheme was how we have done for the past 1 year, and also what we are committing to do in the next coming year. We are happy that we had a very good, we have some very many areas which we are scored very highly. And we also committed, myself, PS Rono and PS Mweke, we committed on behalf of the ministry that going forward, we want to be 100%. And I'm looking at the staff here, our ministry staff. We have to work together so that we get the 100%. It will not be easy, but we have to work to that. So we will give you all the support which is needed so that we do have 100% compliance come this time next year. So that is our commitment, that we are going to do whatever it takes so that we commit, whatever we have committed, we fulfill it. The other area which I would like to say is that to do that, we require processes and staff and resources. We know that we have challenges in terms of staff, we have challenges in terms of budget, we have challenges, other challenges which are confronting us, but we are saying we will be able to deliver within the envelope and the resources we have today. We will be a bit innovative in our ways of looking for resources. Where possible, we will also be asking for more resources. And where we need more staff, we also look for staff. For us to do that, I think one of the promises also we have made, and I want to make, is that is not only doing it and fulfilling the mandate of the ministry, but we want also to be accountable, mainly to the public, the general public. As you all know, as Kenyans, we have to be accountable, we have to be transparent in whatever we do. So I'm committing that when we are doing and going to achieve those milestones we have agreed upon, we are going to work on issues to do with how we do it. How transparent are we? What is the governance structures we have put in place? Because in the past we had some challenges in terms of governance. But those ones, we are going to make sure that we seal the loopholes so that we are able to deliver not only whatever we have promised, but deliver well and be accountable to the general public. The other area which I would like to comment is that we all know that agriculture is devolved. So although we are starting here as a ministry, there is another big section, the 46 counties which are there. We need to work with them. We will also be putting in place to strengthen our intergovernmental relations with the counties. Because without counties, we will not be able to deliver agriculture. And that should be a message very clear, that agriculture is devolved. We have to work with the counties. Most of the services are actually to the wananchi are delivered by the counties. So we will be able to work with the counties to deliver this, whatever we have promised here today. So that is what I would like to highlight. But before I do go back. There are certain issues which has come, and which I would like to use this opportunity to clarify. One of them is that there is a private members bill, and it has created a lot of manenos in the mtandao. We would like to clarify, one, it is a private members bill. It did not originate from the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development. So that should be clear. Two, we are working with a private member who has brought that bill so that we look at what it means and what it does contain. But what I would like to assure the Kenyan farmer and Kenyan consumers, we cannot have a bill which has so many punitive measures. That will not occur. So the bill, whatever is being propagated there in the social media, we would do stakeholder consultation, we would do whatever it takes. But what I can assure the general public is that that bill, or the bill which eventually will go to Parliament and which will be agreed upon, we will not have those extreme measures which are being talked about. We cannot have farmers being told to do A, B, C, D and other things. We want to facilitate farmers to do whatever they are supposed to do, grow crops, market them in a better way. So with that, I would like to say, generally we are happy, and we are looking forward towards implementing what we have agreed here today. And I don't know, players, do you have anything? So we are, with that, I would, yes, the CS Owalo, who is heading this work, would like to clarify something or do something. But for me, thank you very much.
We are accompanied here also by the PS Parliamentary Affairs, Ms. Eliud Owalo, and also the PS responsible for the functional domain of Cabinet Affairs, Mr. Dokota. So I'll give Mr. Dokota a minute to make a few remarks. Same to Madam Aurelia, and then the two PSS of Agriculture and Livestock, respectively, will help us respond to any questions that may emanate from the fourth estate.
Okay. Thank you very much, CS, for this opportunity. As you've heard, Aurelia Rono, PS State Department for Parliamentary Affairs. I think I just want to add to what Wasiri has said and make it very clear that Parliament has a role to make laws. I'm speaking on behalf of the State Department that coordinates the government legislative agenda. And I would want to make it clear that the Horticulture Crop Authorities Bill is a private member's bill. I want to speak to that because I know it is something that is really touching on our farmers. And farmers may not understand where the bill was originating from. Parliamentarians have a mandate to make laws, and they have that right. That is their work. Executive proposes legislative initiatives and channel them to Parliament. So the bill that is going around now in social media, that is called the Horticulture Crop Authority Bill, did not originate from the executive. It is a bill that is sponsored by a private member, which he or she has a right to do that. So the members of public, of farmers, can interact because they have, Parliament have that power. But from the CS, Agriculture, he has promised to take the initiative as a ministry to speak to the private member and explain the policies of government. Because if that bill is not speaking to the policy of government and is punitive to the farmer, then the ministry will have to plead to the member to drop that bill. So in terms of coordination, the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development is doing very well in transferring the government legislative agenda to Parliament. There is that bill that was talked about earlier, the livestock bill, which was a good bill, but because of the uproar that was there, the bill was withdrawn so that we do a wider consultation with the public, then we take it again to Parliament. So I want to, at this juncture, to say executive is listening and executive is ready to work with the public in terms of government legislative agenda. You are aware that government resources cannot be applied in where we don't have policy, legal, and regulatory framework to support that, that expenditure. So as executive, we are very particular to ensure that whatever we put the government resources, whatever we put the government, the taxpayers' money, has a legal, a policy, and a regulatory backing. And this ministry is doing well in that. Thank you so much.
Yes, Doctor.
Thank you, CS Owalo. In terms of performance of the ministry, what we have gauged is that the ministry is doing very well, right from reduction in prices of commodities to fertilizer subsidy program, which has really impacted on productivity in this country. In terms of cabinet decisions in this ministry, there are a number of decisions that are passed by cabinet relating to this ministry, and those decisions are at different levels of implementation. So we are working closely with the ministry to ensure that those decisions that are low-hanging fruits are closed on time to make sure that they are actually converted to a completion level. Thank you.
Are there any questions within the confines of the subject matter today? If there is no question, then we will be at Ministry of Cooperatives, Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises this afternoon, and then also our communication teams will release to you the program, the timetable that will encompass the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks actually, to be precise. Yeah? And you are invited to join us in those sessions. Ladies and gentlemen of the Fourth Estate. Thank you very much. Have a good afternoon.